Hey, listen, we've been doing it on the show forever. We always tell people that it tastes amazing and just leave it up to their virtual imagination to agree with us. But I promise you, this one is an absolute cracker. So while the boys play a little VR, let's get into the kitchen for some classic real-time baking tips with our favorite Michaela.
Clover's range of margarines and spreads. Classic spread. Mama Bake.
Margie, how do you know what we like?
I know someone who knows.
Spread the Margie love.
Made with love by Clover.
And it's certainly no secret on this show that nostalgic dessert classics like a soft roll cake always reign supreme. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, or we might tweak it here and there. Michaela shares her tips on how to achieve that light as a feather sponge cake with an irresistible cream filling. I like this. I want to say it's a Swiss roll, but it's not.
I mean, it is basically a Swiss roll.
But it is.
Yeah.
But it is. Okay, you've just kind of disputed my whole argument.
The only difference is there's a bit of baking powder in this one, whereas Swiss rolls you don't. You rely heavily on the eggs. But I mean, we still
and a lot more
relying
sugar
on the
by the
eggs,
looks of it. But this is cool because a Swiss roll might be a little intimidating. A beautiful roll cake like this really isn't. A couple of simple steps, but you've got to get that part right. So separating the eggs, what's going on?
We're separating our eggs, and then you are going to whip the egg whites into stiff little peaks for us.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see how fast I can do this.
Okay, and why do we do that? Why do we want that air in the egg whites? What does that do for the bake?
It creates that bounce and softness and rise. You know that there's a Genoese sponge. You don't use any like rising agents with that. You
of course I knew that. Michaela, how do you know me? Of course I knew that.
So it's the same concept here. But the thing is, with a Swiss roll, you can flop it a little bit. And it can be a little bit flat because you roll it all up later.
Okay, so it's forgiving.
So
I like that.
You can whip those for me, but you don't want to over whip them because if you over whip them to the point where they like split, then you actually get a dense cake. So it's a very fine line.
Okay, so and how do we know when we've reached the right peak?
You want to lift your beater up and it creates a peak, but not one that's kind of like splitting. You can see when the eggs start to split. Okay. So you're going to definitely need to rev up the speed.
Okay, I was going to ask.
Keep going higher.
Go maximum.
Yeah.
I'm going full.
Nice.
I'm sorry, whatever happens from here on out, it's no longer my responsibility.
Okay, so what you want to do is whip your egg yolks until they start to go lighter in color.
They almost start to kind of look like a butter. Almost, hey?
Exactly.
Like a fat spread, yeah.
Then we add our other wet ingredients, so vanilla essence, a tiny bit of milk, and we have our classic spread over here, all the way together. And then we add our flour and our bit of baking powder.
All right, this is actually starting to come together.
Is it?
Beautiful. Okay,
nice.
Now we're starting to get little peaks there. We talk about a dessert classic. Clover Classic is a classic in itself. Ideal, versatile fat spread that really can be used daily for spreading, for cooking, and obviously for baking. We use it every day.
Yes.
In this recipe, of course, oh, look at those peaks. It's coming along nicely. You can either incorporate it at room temperature or melt it for a smoother consistency. But how's that?
Great. Thank you. And while I'm folding this in, we have our TV magic moment right over there with an already semi-rolled one. So what you want to do is once you've mixed everything together, you've baked it, and you've lined it on your tray, when it comes out the oven, you want to flip it upside down onto a clean tea towel, please. Okay. And then pre-roll it up so that shape
so when it dries in that shape, that's so clever. Okay, I get that.
So if you kind of unroll it, you'll see that there are a few crack lines in the middle. Don't stress too much about that because that will be in the middle.
That'll be in the center.
That by the rest of the roll.
And bearing in mind, we are obviously doing this in stages out of time that you would normally be doing it. So I get that. Just be forgiving. As this recipe is to you, be that forgiving to us. Beautiful icing. What's gone into our icing?
We have some cream cheese. A little bit of icing sugar, some vanilla, there's sour cream in there too.
Oh, it looks beautiful. So can I just spread it on the inside now?
Yes, go for gold.
Beautiful.
There's also a palette knife there if you want to pretend like
I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Get that, yeah.
Okay, go for gold.
I'm going to go.
Just the whole entire thing.
I'm going to do it. Oh, this looks amazing. And the cape's the texture seems nice and light.
It is so good.
Airy.
I'm always a fan of an airy cake.
Yeah. You're an airy chick, man. You know, we're just airy people. That's why we love these things. Okay.
Okay, and you can just incorporate all the little lumpies, and then we pour it onto a tray and bake it in the oven at 170 degrees Celsius.
170.
Yes. Okay. Slightly down from our usual baking temperature, which is 180. You don't want it to burn or cook too quickly on the outside. And it's a very quick bake because it's so thin. There we go.
I love this.
That's my end.
What's quite cool about this, if you've got like some guests coming over, you've got a little party on the way, you need to do some stuff. Love it.
Look at you!
Okay, I haven't put the berries on the inside.
No.
I suppose you could, hey.
You could definitely slice it up.
And then dust it with a little bit of that.
Boop. Wow, so
Well, I'm loving, you
beautiful.
could have a little bit of fun with this. So if you know your kids love like a peppermint crisp kind of lining, you can go with that, or maybe a bit of caramel, have a little bit of fun. My son absolutely loves strawberry jam, so maybe mix a little bit of that kind of vibe with the cream cheese.
Or custard. We could use some classic custard. You just thicken that up.
Oh,
put that in there.
please, please. If you're going to do it, you got to show us pictures. Post those pictures.
Sorry.
Did you just throw a berry away? Really simple to make. We've just proven it. Buckets of flavor, and I think as a jumping off point, you can take this anywhere. But of course, if you missed any of these simple steps, take a look at this. Yay, well done, little kid.
Made with love by Clover.